Welcome to the Tax Answers Advisor, coming to you from the Studio 809 Community Podcast Studio at the Next Us, a professional cooperative environment for small businesses in downtown Colorado Springs. The Tax Answers Advisor tackles the real tax frustrations of taxpayers who owe the IRS money. Your ex left you a surprise tax bill, or the IRS has sucked the money out of your bank account. If this anxiety and frustration keeps you up at night, then keep listening. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by unfiled tax returns, or you're staring down a tax bill you didn't even create. It just caught you by surprise, and guess what? Now you owe $20,000 or more, and you had no idea. Now you're not even sure where to turn. You're not alone, and you don't have to stay stuck. Each week, we break down understandable tax solutions that can help you get control back over your finances. Get back your peace of mind and protect your future one clear step at a time. Whether you're looking to help yourself or want to help a family member who's facing these tax challenges, this podcast is here to empower you with the knowledge you need to make the next best step. Stay with us for this very special episode so you can know the exact steps to move forward with confidence and finally get tax answers you deserve. And this week, we're taking a little twist as we're going to have a very special guest, Courtney Cullen of Hippy Hands Massage, as we're going to discuss how tax relief and massage therapy can actually work together to help you sleep better at night. Are overdue taxes, though, and unfiled tax returns keeping you up at night? Are you feeling overwhelmed by tax issues or feeling a little stiff from a spouse's dishonest business dealings, or perhaps you're years behind on filing yourself? You're not alone, and it's time to take control. We help clients eliminate those feelings of annoyance, embarrassment about owing taxes, ensuring you're not worried about the fines, fees, or penalties. We remove the stress and anxiety of dealing with the IRS so you won't face unexpected tax liens or surprises like having your money sucked out of your bank account, or even worse. Visit taxreliefcall.com today to schedule your introductory session so you can get on the road to sleeping better at night and having peace of mind. I just want to say, hey, Courtney, welcome.
Hey, how are you? I know, what a weird concept, massage and taxes, right?
That is a very, very weird thing there. But why don't you go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction of yourself and some of your background here.
So my name is Courtney. I started massage therapy, actually taking reflexology classes, and I got certified in hand and foot reflexology. And then just from there, I just fell in love with it. And long story short, here I am 10 years later running my own business.
Hey, and that's congratulations. And
hey,
by the
thanks.
way, I can say she does a very fine job because I've gotten a personal service from Courtney already, and she does very nicely. Some people can sit here and think about as we talk, what does taxes and massage therapy do?
Sure.
How do they come together? Why would I talk about this on a tax podcast? Well, as I was talking to another member of the Next Us community here, we're both in the healing business.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the healing business, it's just a different type.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
different types of healing there. So I know when you work with somebody, Courtney, they have knots. They have muscle knots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I deal with people who have financial knots.
Yeah.
So then tell me a little bit then how, as a massage therapist, you work with those knots through getting that deep muscle tension and getting those knots taken care of.
So I always like to describe massage as like kneading bread or even cutting through like layers of onion, right? Usually when you cut through like a layer of onion, you're not going to start at the middle. You're going to start at the top and you're going to work your way through. So the same concept with massage. I'm not going to start in the middle of the layers of your muscles and work those out. I'm going to work through the different textures and all of the things that go into what a muscle is. And we're just going to work through all of the stuff because obviously, it didn't take you overnight to get like that, so it's not going to be fixed overnight. And the best way to work with your body is by just allowing it to be in a stress-free zone.
Hey, that's exactly it. I love your illustration about the onion because with taxes, essentially, we do the exact same thing because we take an onion, we start peeling back the layers for the taxpayers as they come and see me. And we start off to really get those layers, dig deep. As we get a little bit deeper, we find out, this is why you owe the IRS money.
Right.
And so we got to peel through those onion layers.
Absolutely. And I think another key to being like a massage therapist is understanding that not everybody went to school to learn about the body, to learn about massage. I went to school to learn about that. That's my job, to educate you. So why not take the opportunity to teach you about your body so then you can do self-care better and you have a reason to do so?
Mm-hmm.
Very much like doing your taxes. You don't want to get behind and owe all kinds of money, right?
You definitely don't there, as well as, yeah, see, I went to school. I mean, there's continuing education hours that I go and
Absolutely.
do each year just to maintain. And if anybody is familiar with the big, beautiful bill that just passed, that had several tax provisions. As a tax person and helping people to solve their tax issues and even prevent their tax issues, having a bill at least that early in the year,
right,
instead of in December, which is what Congress is famous for doing.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to get ready for taxing and to help these people to work through their financial knots.
I think it's also like an anxiety thing too, right? Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're starting anything new, as far as like it can go as simple as like going to a new restaurant, something like that. It's always kind of nerve wracking and kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What's really going on? And I notice like a lot of people when they come into my massage at my studio and maybe they've never had a massage and they're just super anxious and they're just give them a breakdown of what massage is as far as like what you're looking for. Like, let's say if you're looking for lower back pain, I'm just going to break down what that might look like. I'm going to do some glute work. I'm going to do some full back body work and maybe some neck stuff because all of that's going to be tied together. But once you explain the process and what's going on, that helps loosen and lessen everything. Everybody's just kind of like that calm, like, oh, it all makes sense now because you've explained it to me. It's not like what you may think it would be. It's not as complicated as you think it might be in your head or something, you know?
Exactly there. And just as you mentioned, people come in for their first time massage.
Yeah,
They have a certain level of anxiety. They have a certain
absolutely.
unsurety. And especially if they're seeing you for the first time, they're kind of like a little bit unsure.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed at how the same thing happens when people have tax issues.
Yeah.
They come to me, they have anxiety, they don't know what to do, they're unsure about the process. They hear ads on the radio. Oh, and it's really big on the radio. These
Yeah.
companies that say, call this 800 number and
Right.
we can solve this tax issue for you. But yet they're uncertain about that because it's some 800 number to some unknown
Yeah.
person
Right.
in some who knows where in the country. I'm guessing at least in the United States. I don't know because I've never called any of these companies. But anyway, what I'm saying is that and they come to me, at least they can come see me in person. They know who they're
Exactly.
dealing with. And just as you mentioned, you explained the process for a
Right.
massage. I explained the
Right.
process of how we can solve their tax issue and help them to get to the thing. But just as you have to do an education work,
Exactly.
I have to do an education work as well
Right.
in walking them through the process. And just as we see that many times you deal with chronic pain,
Absolutely.
chronic pain
Yes.
with various areas. And so how does massage then work to get to that root of chronic pain?
So, as far as chronic pain goes, you have to first believe in what you're doing, right? Massage is like taking a medication. You know, when you take the medication X amount of time, that medication is going to work. It's very similar to massage. When you go into massage, you have to first believe that the massage is going to work itself, right? And then once you go in and you know that massage is going to work, there's science proving all of these different things. It helps with stress. It helps with all of this different stuff. So by, again, working through those onion layers and having good blood flow and everything like that is going to help with a lot of the chronic pain, because at the very basics of healing, you have to start with blood flow. And that's the main idea of what massage therapy is you're going to get that blood flowing better. So now everything's going to start healing because you need those cells and all of that healthy blood to go through your muscles to make everything function, right? And you could even do that just as simple as by moving your arms around, walking around. You know, if you have a sit down job, walk around a little bit at your desk. It's simpler than we think because we live in a society that says if we don't go to the gym, we're not working out. But that's the furthest thing from the truth you could ever do. Living your day-to-day life is working out. Moving your body is working out. And I think we forget that. So when you're dealing with chronic pain, because you're just so in this like painful thing, you forget, well, maybe moving might actually help, or maybe going and getting a massage even for an hour. There's studies showing that an hour of massage is compared to 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting to hear. And it's interesting because I love how you make all the connections like with the blood flow and so on, because it's as we deal with chronic tax problems, it's similar. You got to have a good flow in
absolutely.
taking care of your tax issues. Because first of all, if you're behind on tax returns, part of your flow is your records.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, depending on especially if you're a small business person, that can be a challenge.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you need to have records go back and check what records you have. Sometimes part of the process I do as part of the research in getting that blood flowing is seeing what the IRS has on the individual, being a small business or someone who doesn't have their own business. But we got to reach in there, find out what is flowing. And then as we get that flowing, start getting these tax returns caught up, their blood starts flowing.
Absolutely.
They start healing up. And then eventually we can get them to a solution that's going to be able to do it. That way they can definitely be able to get like an hour massage. Only problem is in some of these tax issues, it doesn't quite take an hour. It can take months. And that's literally just because
Same thing with massage, right? It's not going to be an overnight thing, Taxes and massage, even though you wouldn't think they have a lot to do, they do, because massage therapy, it's a process. You know what I mean? You have to start at square one. Before I went to massage school, I hardly ever got massages. And now I'm about it. It's crazy once you learn things that you don't know and you apply it to your day-to-day life. And I think that's kind of the key with anything you do, whether it's you're starting to file for your taxes for the first time. As a small business owner, I can relate to that. It's very scary, right? But thankfully we have you to come here and help us guide us through the process. Similar to me, I'm just here to guide you through how you heal your body.
Yeah. And see, that's why it's so good that we can sit here and chat about
this.
Right,
absolutely.
And that's why I was like, there's got to be connection between what we do and we're sitting here, we're discovering that there is indeed that connection of there's chronic back pain, other pains in the body. And we know people have chronic pain in dealing with their IRS issues. So definitely there. And we're both in the business. Like I mentioned earlier, we're both in the healing business, just a different type of healing there.
Well, and another fun fact is your muscles are going to hold on to like emotions and stuff too. So if you're stressed about getting your taxes in, then your body's going to hold on to that and make it more tense and more not fun to live in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hadn't considered that one. That is a big issue there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, taxes can relax you even more. I'm going to have to figure out a way to implement that a little bit more into it. Now, have you worked much with athletes, helping them to recover?
So, actually muscle recovery is one of the first things that I started with. I worked at a chiropractor's office in Pueblo who specialized in car accidents. And just working through that, I just learned that muscle recovery is definitely what I enjoy doing, because I think as humans, we take what we have for granted and we forget how incredibly powerful our bodies are and how much care they really need. Because self-care is so complicated, because honestly, there's millions of options out there. How do you figure out what's good for you? How do you not figure out what's good for you? And there's so many cliche answers out there, right?
Oh, yeah. Wow, there's probably as many cliche answers in massage as there is cliche answers on tax.
Oh, absolutely.
People go to social medias, various forums, looking for solutions on things, and we always tell people, if you're getting your tax advice off of a social media network, that's not always the best thing.
Right. And more times than not, they also didn't go to school and they're not licensed. I run into a lot of that stuff within my profession too. And people are like, oh, well, I've seen this on this place. Just because you've seen it on social media or you've seen it somewhere else does not mean a licensed professional can do those things. And I can't stress that enough to people who they don't understand that there's a lot of things that go into being a licensed massage therapist. It's not just this, and this. Like, there are certain things I absolutely cannot do because I can lose my license for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's exactly. That's an excellent point to bring out, because myself, I'm an enrolled agent, which means I've passed tests. I'm licensed by the IRS to represent people before the IRS. And I do tax representation work, which is what solving these tax issues all is. And one thing is that there's a lot of tax people out there, but not all of them focus into this area there or specialize in this. This is really a specialized service, helping people get caught up on their tax returns, helping business owners, which most often the ones that are behind. I mean, I've had people 6, 7, 8 years since they haven't filed the taxes, and we have to go back and we have to get at least 6 years of taxes filed for them. And that's even before we can solve their issue. We have to figure out the whole issue, because compliance is the big issue with the IRS. You got to be compliant before they'll even work with you.
Right. Yep.
And certainly that's resolving these tax issues. And once those are done, then the business owner knows how to move forward, how they can move forward, because oftentimes that's the big a big issue with them.
Right.
And there's a lot of areas in taxes where they can be just stuck.
Absolutely. And I think it's also, too, important to mention that each state has different laws and regulations that you have to be aware of. So sure, you can go on Google, social media, whatever, and do and research certain types of things. But I run into it a lot. Like for people who want deep tissue, a lot of people aren't aware that there's a 24-hour window that I have to wait between a workout and me being able to give you that massage so I don't cause any muscle damage and stuff like that. So when I'm trying to explain stuff, they kind of look at me like I'm the crazy one and like there's no schooling or anything for this. And I'm like, I took the NCLEX, like I took the state test, I promise. I went to school. So it's just kind of like, I think people forget that there's a lot more that goes into industries than what appears to be on the surface.
Well, it's funny. It's interesting. You keep saying things that I've actually experienced from people in my business. They look at me sometimes like I'm the crazy one. When I say, wow, this is how we got to process this. This is how we're going to do it. This is how long it's going to take. And see, you're just dealing with one state.
Right. Absolutely.
I deal with both federal issues, the IRS, and state.
Yeah.
In this case, Colorado, or it could be another state, because I also work with other states beside Colorado, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, one difference is the fact I'm not licensed by the state. I'm licensed by the IRS, which
is still a license. Yeah.
Which is still a license there. And so people just need to as we speak to them, being it's tax or massage, we communicate with them. And it's just like in the end, you've probably had the issue where people look at you crazy and just think, no, I'm not doing that, or that doesn't work for me.
I've had people, when I've explained this to me, literally ask me if they could reschedule. And then when I tell them that they have to pay for that session, look at me like I didn't put any time or anything into getting ready for that session. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we need to have respect for the professionals in the industries. And that goes for all industries.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you're absolutely right on that. No matter the industry, we need to respect them because schooling.
Absolutely.
If we go in and you take a look, this is what we're encouraging people as they listen to this, is that there's a lot of time and there's money that's put into these things.
I had to get my license from the state, I had to do over 500 hours of in-class and clinical, and I had to clock in and out like it was my job. If I missed hours, I had to make those up to go take my state test. We had to turn in all of that documentation to go take our state test.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like going to cosmetology school.
And you know what? That's actually even tougher than what I went through.
Right.
There to get my licensing and stuff. But regardless, though, there's still education time.
Yeah.
There's still the time, how much you spent on it. There's still the hours you spent on it.
And the continuing education,
and then the continuing education that you spend on it, just staying current. Now, as we think about these things that we've talked about in regards to licensing, continuing education, which leads to the question about professional technique.
Yes.
Why is that? Why would you say that's so important in massage?
So I always say to people, just kind of like in a joking way, but the reality is when I went to school, I learned how to not paralyze people. That is what I've learned, because you have to remember, I'm not only dealing with the muscular system. When you're dealing with the muscular system, you're dealing with the nerves, you're dealing with veins, you're dealing with a lot of things. And also, I have to know where the endangerment sites are, because if I accidentally do something in that site, I could do some horrible damage. So we have to know every single muscle, every single bone, all of the nerves, pretty much everything that a doctor would have to know. And yes, we do even have to know about medications, because there are certain medications that you cannot get a massage if you are taking them, such as muscle relaxers, narcotics, some blood pressure medication. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And we also have to keep notes, just like any other medical professional, right? Because we are held up to the medical professional standards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is just really deep in understanding how much you have to just maintain it. It's not just, here's a table, jump on it.
Right. Yeah. People don't even understand we have to follow HIPAA guidelines.
Yeah. Well, that I do get.
Yeah.
That does make sense to me.
Absolutely.
See, where we're dealing with this in the tax side is that we have basically a lot of the same type of regulations, responsibilities, professional technique as started in this part of the conversation. There is a professional technique to getting things done, because people get a letter from the IRS or they need help from the IRS, and Sometimes they call the IRS, but wait on hold for hours,
Days. Who even knows?
And guess what? There's a professional technique to get through to them a little bit fast, and that's why I do this, so I can usually talk to them within a few minutes most of the time.
It's kind of like I like to tell my clients, you have to learn everybody's body's language because it's different. So similar, like you would want somebody who knows how to talk to tax people to get your goals accomplished faster, right?
Yeah. And seeing as well as the technique in itself, and I'll give you an example. I had a gentleman call my office a few weeks ago looking for help. One of the big issues that happens and why people sometimes get behind on tax is that when they didn't even know they had an issue is because stock options they receive from a company they work for.
Oh, yeah.
And perhaps they sell them or they exercise them or whatever. And for whatever reason, they don't include them on their tax return.
Oh, yeah, because people don't understand all the little legalities and different dots and T's you need to cross and all of the stuff you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot with massage too.
There's a level in there. And this gentleman was telling me about his case. And I says, well, first step is I need to do this and I need to do this. I need to check these records. I need to read the IRSs. And then I told him about this is the cost of it. And gentleman says, well, no, I don't want to pay you that much to do that. I'm like, well, okay, that's your choice there.
Right.
But I was saying, as he was describing to me exactly what happened, I was like, I don't know what communications he had with the IRS or what he sent to the IRS.
Of course.
But I'm sitting there going through my head because of professional technique. And I've actually solved this before. I'm like, and he said he's been waiting like 2 years for resolution on this. I thought in my head, well, if he'd have just done this, it'd have been resolved in 6 months.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the same thing as far as like technique and approach goes for me. Like I always like to tell clients, like massage therapy is a lot like dating, right? Like you wouldn't want to go on the first date and pull out all your good moves that maybe you would want to say for like the fourth or fifth date, right? So of course I'm not going to go in there and do all of my technique. I mean, I have over 10 years of experience of massage. I'm not going to go in there and overwhelm your system because what's the point of overwhelming your system when we're trying to get it to relax and calm down? There's no point. And there's no set rule on what self-care looks like. It's whatever makes you feel better. That's self-care. Eating candy bars. I always say that's self-care too. Most people don't, but I do.
Well, it's one of those areas I just look, hey, if it makes you happy, that's fine.
I was always told everything's fine in moderation.
Yeah, moderation is a very good thing there. And certainly what we can appreciate too is that going beyond the technique here is that you mentioned this a little bit earlier about sometimes people have a tough sports workout.
Yeah.
And then they want to get some balance back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Then from what I gathered from what you mentioned earlier, they need to have a little bit of patience though.
Yeah. So it's not to say like after you get a workout or something like that, you can't get a deep tissue. It would just be more of a recovery, just kind of get things flowing, help the blood flow going and just get the muscles in there to kind of recover. And I don't know if you're familiar with how muscles are building when you're actually like working out. So when you're working out, you're causing micro tears in your muscle. That's awesome. That's great. That's how you're going to build muscle. However, if I were to go in there and I did a deep tissue and I was to cause that micro tear just even a little bit more, now that's muscle damage and your body has to go in there and repair it instead of build muscle. So that's why there's that caution there. But you can always go in there and get kind of more of like what I like to call as a healing, rejuvenating, just getting in there, helping everything recover and just really enhancing the blood flow and getting all the toxins flowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's what I go through and do through the tax resolution process is not getting that torn because it's not, if we don't send it in right or give the right communication, guess what? It can just take a whole lot longer or it can actually make it worse. But yeah, we go in, years of financial strain aren't going to be solved overnight, just as we don't massage therapy doesn't solve everything overnight. But we can get financial strain solved. It just takes time. Now, as a taxpayer, you do need to respond when I ask for documentation and certain information. Yeah. I have to get a response from you because as I'm drafting whatever I'm drafting to prepare to get you solved with the IRS, basically it's a cooperative experience.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, and you also need communication too because you don't really know if something's actually changed. Or, you know what I mean? Because changes can happen within a few minutes, few seconds. You just never know. So especially like when I'm doing deep tissue, and this is what I tell my clients all the time, that is a communicative technique. I have to have your communication because if you're not telling me if something hurts, I can't feel what you're feeling. So that's kind of like this really weird thing that I always like run into. People are like, oh, well, you'll know when it's too much. I actually don't know when it's too much because I can't feel your body. I know that's ironic to like think of, but people just think because I'm a therapist, like I just have this way of feeling what they're feeling. I don't have a superpower like that. And I don't think I'd want that superpower, to be honest.
No, you probably wouldn't because anyway, yeah, you wouldn't want that because then you're trying to draw too many conclusions. But yeah, it's
Exactly.
but that's where communication and I mean, just like you're not a mind reader.
Right.
I mean, you push a point and to you, I can see where, because I've had a lot of massages before.
Absolutely.
And you push on there and it may feel a little tight. You can feel the tightness and some other things down in there, but the body's reaction.
Absolutely.
You don't feel there. Well, me also, as I talk to people, if they don't give me what I need, like I say, I need a bank statement or this documentation, or I need utility bill or some proof of a document, because there's a process I go through, and I go in and I talk to people and we get their records, we get them tax compliant. Then we got to figure out, okay, what kind of program do you qualify for? Well, we have to go and do a calculation that meets IRS guidelines.
Absolutely.
And some of those things are government standards, which makes it easy because you just apply the government standard. Other things require documentation.
Well, and I think too, like a thing that I always run into is my clients always think that I'm going to judge them. And I always joke around, like my job is to judge your muscles. And that's the only thing that I will judge. Because honestly, when I'm doing a massage, I don't care about anything besides what you're there for. And that's to get your body to feel better. And that is my only concern. You know, whatever self-conscious things you have or whatever it is that you may have, you're draped. I'm not even going to see it anyways.
Yeah. And some people, that's why they take so long to perhaps solve the tax issues, because they have a certain amount of embarrassment. They have a certain amount of shame in their eyes, or maybe in some cases, they don't want their spouse to know.
Absolutely.
They're hiding it from them. So then it just gets, and then when it finally does come out, it's like, okay, now that it's out, let's get it discussed.
Right.
But I do need your help to walk you through this. Right. If you want this solved, you have to be willing to basically tell me your whole life story.
Yeah, you have to be
financial story.
You have to be a little bit vulnerable with me in order for massage therapy to work. That's why it's called therapy, right? Because if it was something that was just like, oh, here you go, like black and white, like here's your massage, let's go, then there wouldn't be the therapy part aspect of it, right? That's why it's a massage therapy, because you're also giving your body therapy to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you give massage therapy.
Absolutely. You give tax therapy.
I give tax therapy, and it rubs all through there, and it can be transformational.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely there, because both massage therapy and through tax resolution, you can get stress and pain resolved.
I've had clients literally hug me and call me the hero because of how much I was able to help them. And I've even had clients come into me saying, hey, my doctor is saying that this surgery didn't work. It's not taking. I can't afford, or for whatever reasons, they can't go to have another second surgery. And like, you are my last option before I go into surgery. And more times than not, I can help them not even have to go to surgery at all. Because it's just breaking up the tissues. Mm-hmm. It sounds complicated, but in a simple form, it's just cutting an onion.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And seeing that's where many times with the IRS, as we work with them, I mean, they'll get, sadly, some people don't do anything until they get that money sucked out of their bank account that I talked earlier.
Absolutely.
The bank gets there, or they get a notice, they go to pay whatever, and the bank tells them, oh, you don't have any money because it's on hold from the IRS. And all of a sudden the panic goes into their eyes, like, oh, I got to pay attention to this now. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I get called, and they give us a call. We figure out what's going on real quick, and then we get a thing off to the IRS, go through the process, and then get that. So they can have access back to their money, but yet they have to be cooperating and working with the IRS. See, one thing is too, as we go through this whole process there, ongoing care. You've talked a lot about self-care. And you think about ongoing care. So what would your encouragement be when it comes to a regular massage? What's the benefits going to be there?
The benefit of regular massage, one of the biggest benefits is it's going to help reduce any kind of injury to your body, right? I was told by a chiropractor when I was in a car accident 2020, so that was 5 years ago or something like that, that if it wasn't for the way that I did body working back then, I maybe did it once every other month, maybe 3 months, right? But that saved me from getting a broken back in a car accident I was in. So there's that. And a broken back, typically the recovery is anywhere from 6 months to over a year, depending on what happened and everything else like that. It also, mental health, it's a very good thing for mental health. It just reduces anxiety, stress, helps you sleep good at night. It also touches over 5 billion different touch senses. Yes, you heard that right. 5 billion. So yeah, there's a lot of things that they're finding out about massage, but because it affects all of the levels or all of the systems in the body, it's hard to say everything that it does do. But what science has proved is it's good. And I know that's the cliche, oh, just do it because it works. But unfortunately, we've been studying this since humans have been around, and that's still the best answer we have.
Mm-hmm. Well, taxes don't quite give you that answer. But what happens, though, as you see continuing with massage therapy, as we continue with tax, we can go in and get your tax problem solved. We can get it resolved with the IRS. And people come to me, well, we want to do this particular solution that they hear advertised on the radio or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if that solution will work for you or not, because I don't know your situation. It's a very broad statement, but we're going to resolve it for you. It's going to be within IRS guidelines. But the kicker is that once you get that resolved, staying compliant and being proactive in your tax is going to be absolutely essential there. So you can have peace of mind. So you can sleep at night.
Well, and just because a process doesn't start out as black and white doesn't mean that the process isn't going to start to be getting to where it's black and white, right? Like it might be all kinds of different angles and all of these different things are going on. But then as you're going through the process and you're starting to realize, oh, wait, now that all the hard things are done and now that I'm actually like going through the process, this is easy as just black and white. And all I got to do is just show up for my appointment and hand over the documentation. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, you just got to get to the point where it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we try. That's exactly what we work to get people exactly that point. Yeah. So all they're doing is providing us with the documents we need each month, especially if it's a small business, making sure we keep them compliant on a monthly basis so that come tax time, they can actually get it filed on time and then not be behind. And then if they're in some type of payment arrangement with the IRS, keep that keep that going, keep that current as well, because nothing holds people back more or can keep people up more at night than
their own selves. And sometimes it's just a daunting. I always say the mind is the craziest place to live in, right? Because you could be sleeping and you will wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't paid my taxes in 10 years. I need to handle that right now. But what are you going to do at 3 o'clock in the morning? I mean, let's just be honest, right? Or, oh my gosh, my body hurts really bad. I need to get a massage right now. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's going to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So save yourself the trouble of waking up in the middle of the night thinking you're going to scramble and do something when there's clearly no option to do it, and just do it. Just get it done.
Yeah, just get it done there. And so that's what we want to encourage everyone to do as you listen to this, is that take care of your body in 2 ways.
Absolutely.
1, get that massage, get it going, get your blood flowing, start peeling that onion. But at the same time, if you are experiencing the tax issues, you're behind on tax returns, you owe the IRS a large amount of money,
you have somebody there to answer your questions and walk you through the process.
Yeah. You have someone here local that's knowledgeable to help you walk through that process, but not only get you through that process completed, but keep you compliant going forward.
Yeah.
Because, you have someone here local that's knowledgeable to help you walk through that process, but not only get you through that process completed, but keep you compliant going forward.
Yeah.
Because one thing I can honestly say, once I get people compliant, I am pretty strict as a tax professional.
And I think that's what's important about being a professional, is understanding that in your profession, you have to be strict because you don't want to have to work harder than you need to work. And once you get your clients caught up, who really wants to go backwards in life? Nobody really wants to do that. So in a sense, it's our job to remind you that there are resources out there. Now, if you choose to use them or not, that's on you. I can't make you do that, but I can remind you that there are resources and there are knowledgeable people in industries.
Yes. And that's across many industries.
Absolutely.
And we got to be willing to, we got to be willing to pay for it.
Right. And you also got to be willing to remember we're all human. We've all been in places. We've all made mistakes. We've all done it. That's why we're here as a community, to help you get better and not to judge you for how you lived your life. Because there's no perfect way to live your life.
Yeah, there absolutely is no perfect way. And that's similar. What I go through, I'll think in my head sometimes, well, this person should have filed, but yet that's not I'm not to judge them.
Right.
I just need to come in and help you to resolve the issue so that you can move forward, because I don't need to make you feel any worse. I'm not going to
Absolutely,
do
no.
that. In fact, what I often do is I'll give them some type of commendation for reaching out and fixing it and saying, hey, let's work together.
Same.
Let's get this done.
Yeah,
let's get you on a path to where you can sleep good at night, have peace of mind.
I think it's more important to remember that we are all humans and we need to be treated like humans at the end of the day versus judging somebody for a mistake that they made. Like, I don't think it's fair for anybody to judge somebody because they didn't make the same choice that somebody else did. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say what's right, wrong, or indifferent? It doesn't matter. The thing is you're doing better now, and that's what counts.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's live in the here and now, whether you need the massage or you need to solve the tax issue.
Or even both.
Which it could be both for some people. We don't know. But anyway, what we're saying is let's make sure you take advantage of the resources available to you in a way. And see, that's what I always try to do. I try to make people already feel bad enough about their situation.
Yeah.
I don't need to make it worse, but I will work to help you to do it even better and get it done in a timely manner. At least I should say in a timely manner as far as I can do the work, because in the end, we could be waiting on either the state of Colorado, which actually the state of Colorado moves a lot faster than the IRS does, but still there's always there's always a waiting period, whether you're dealing with the IRS or you're dealing with Colorado or even another state.
I think when I first got my license through the state of Colorado, it took them 3 months to process my license.
Oh, wow.
It took Dora 3 months to process my license and all the paperwork and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't deal with Dora.
Oh, no, that's just what I deal with. So, yeah.
I deal with more with the Colorado Department of Revenue, and they're kind of, it depends what it is. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, but it just depends.
That's what we were told in school, too. It could take anywhere from like 3 to 6 months, they were telling us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting there. Hey, Courtney, we really want to thank you for coming and having this conversation with us about these important topics today. Appreciate your insights, your thoughts. I just want to give you the opportunity to let people know, hey, Courtney's given me some good food for thought. Maybe I should go see Courtney. So how can they get a hold of you, Courtney?
So I am on Gloss Genius. If you just search Hippy Hands Massage LLC, you can find me on Google, all the social. I have Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Nextdoor. But yeah, I'm all over the place, and you could always reach out and make an appointment.
Yeah, and we certainly encourage you to do so with Courtney there. And just keep in mind this final thought I have, that if you are feeling ashamed, frustrated about your tax returns being unfiled, and it just haunts you, and you feel overcome by this feeling of isolation, victimization by these tax issues, you don't have to face it alone. You can transform those feelings of being exposed and vulnerable into being confident and optimistic. Just visit taxreliefcall.com today to schedule an introductory session, and you can start your journey to a better night's sleep and peace of mind. Thanks for listening to the Tax Answers Advisor, and always remember, together, tax time can be less taxing.
Awesome.